Hello and welcome to this video on the Metta Sutta, or in fuller form the Karaniya Metta Sutta, verse 3. As usual, I'll read it through slowly twice and we'll deal with it in detail. Nacha Kudum samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadeyum sukhinova khemino huntu sabbe sata bhavantu Sukita. And I'll read it once more with shared screen on text. There we are. Move me out of the way. Nachikudam samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadeyum sukhinova khemino huntu sabbe sata bhavantu Sukita. The word Kudum, the original meaning is something small, trifling, unimportant. But it also has the extended meaning of something that's nasty. And in English we can use small-minded, petty-minded, something mean. So that's the range of meaning here. So it can mean, it has been translated, Nachikudam samachare kinchi, let him not do the slightest thing or the smallest thing for which he could later be blamed by the wise. That appears to me to place too much of an emphasis here on the observation of the minutest rules of the Vinaya and how you put your robe on and that kind of thing. Yeah, you could argue either way. My own view, for what it's worth, is that we're looking more at the moral aspect here, rather than strict adherence to rules. So not do anything that's in any way kind of mean or petty towards another person. So this word samachare, in other texts, in other editions, the sum is left out. Let me call that up for you. So we're looking at samachare. Samachare. And it's in the optative and negated na samachare, let one not do. Just a general injunction against it. And this is from our well-known root char, from which we get carriage and indeed car. It means to go or to proceed. Acharati, achar, generally in the meaning of to conduct oneself in a particular way. To go to is the original etymological meaning. And acharati, you can conduct yourself in a certain way, and it can be used as a verb followed by an action noun, simply mean to do that action, where the semantic stress is on the noun. So, for example, Nacha Kudum samachare kinchi. If you look at this sentence, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean when I say the emphasis here is on the noun, not the verb. The Kudum is the essence of the sentence, or the entrance of this pada. The Kudum is the mean or petty thing, or the slightest thing. The verb here, samachare, there could have been a number of verbs used here, basically mean to commit, to do, to engage in, that kind of thing, without altering the meaning. Samachare, what's the difference between achere and samachare? There's not a huge amount of difference. Achere is, or acherati, is a more general word meaning to go to something, conduct yourself in that way, do a certain act. Samachare has more of a sense of a deliberate act, like doing something, doing an act, and committing an act. Is that same kind of difference that we'd see in English there. It's more of a sense of the morally significant decision to do something, not just the doing of it, but you're morally committing yourself to one course of action rather than the other. Now, it may be that I'm slightly over-translating here, by over-translating meaning loading more meaning onto the word than it should properly have. But I think that it gets the flavour. So this samachare has more of a moral tone. You've made a deliberate decision that, of the range of choices available to you. You samacharati, you fix on, you commit yourself to that course of action. So kinchi means anything. We have the word ko equals who. It's an interrogative, ko. And the neuter equals what. If you add chi, which in Sanskrit is chit, to ko, kim, or any grammatical variant of ko or kim, it's no longer an interrogative, it becomes a generalized indefinite. So ko who, ko chi means anybody. Kim, what, kinchi, anything at all. So that's how it's used in this meaning, in this occurrence here, kinchi. So one should do nothing. One should not do any mean act. And it can be used as a pronoun, kinchi, anything. It can also be used here as an adjective. So kinchi kudum, any mean act. So nachi kudum samachare kinchi, one should not do any kudam. Yena vinyu pare upavadayum. Yena, it is from there's yo, which is correlative with ko. And so he. So yo is who, as a relative, not an interrogative. And yena, and yo and yam is the neuter of that. Yena means by which. It's the instrumental of yam. Yo masculine, yam neuter. The instrumental of them both is yena, but here it's the yena instrumental of the neuter. It means by which or for which, by which reason. That means one should not commit any mean act. By which. Pare, later on, vinyu upavadeyum. By which or for which reason, later on, the wise might blame or reprimand. It's from our root vad, meaning to say or speak. And upavad looks as if it means something like saying up or talking up. It actually has the exact opposite meaning in Pali. It's as give somebody a talking to, in other words, reprimand them or blame them. And the vinyu, it's originally from the Sanskrit vidya, as in vijnana, wisdom, and in Pali, as in many cases, you can make an adjective of it by u. So vinyu means the wise. By the way, this one is the same in the nominative. It's the same in the singular and the plural. Vinyu, singular and plural. And we know it's plural here because the verb upavadeyum is the plural of the optative. So yena vinyu, by which the wise, pare, later on, upavadeyum, might blame, might reprimand or blame you. Sukhinova kemino huntu. Sabbe sata bhavantu sukhitata. So, Sukhino, we all know Sukha. We all know the word anyway, however little we might experience of it. Sukha. Sukhin. That's one of our well-known roots in meaning possessed of. The example I give to show that we actually know this already. So yoga, yogin, in which in the nominative singular is yogi, which of course we have in English. So yoga, yogi, you know the relationship between those two words. The in ending, I call it in rather than e because it's an in stem, although it becomes just a long e in the nominative singular, means that somebody who is happy, sukhin, happy, having sukha. And the plural, because it's a noun, sorry, a consonant, correction, consonant stem sukhin, and the masculine plural becomes sukhino. Sukhinova kemino huntu. The va here is an abbreviated form of eva. I've corrected my written note, by the way. That's the manuscript, not manuscript, the typescript note. I've made a correction to my interpretation of the va there. Sukhinova, it's the same as eva, but with the e dropped off. And it means may they, effectively it means may they have nothing but happiness. Eva often, it's an emphatic particle, but it often means alone, only that, nothing else apart from that. So, Sukhinova kemino huntu. May they know only happiness, we might loosely translate. Kemino, from the Sanskrit word kshi, meaning to abide or to dwell. And in Sanskrit, with guna of the e becomes kshe and the ending ma. So your kshema, like dharma, and so on, is this ma ending. Kshema means your dwelling originally, your dwelling place. And by extension, it means a place where you can feel safe, your protected space, your safe space. And in Pali, of course, that becomes kema, as usual. And a person who is in safety, who has his protected safe place around him, is the kemin, with our in ending. And again, nominative plural, kemino. So, sukhinova kemino huntu. May they be only happy and safe. In other words, the force of the eva here, shortened to verb, means that you are wishing upon them only that, happiness and safety. Sukhinova kemino huntu. Huntu, that is a third person imperative. We know, very simple grammar now, that the third person singular ends in a ti, usually, and the third person plural ends in nti. So huntu, so hoti or bhavati, to be, he is, it is. Hunti is the indicative now, just making a statement. Hunti and bhavanti. That can be made into an imperative simply by, in each case, changing the final vowel to u. So, huntu, may they be. It's in English and indeed in Latin, the imperative expressed only to a you, whereas in Sanskrit and Pali you can have the imperative of the third person, which is expressing a strong wish, obviously not a command. You can only give a command to an individual in the second person, as it were, grammatically. But in Sanskrit you can give a command in the sense of a strong wish. You're saying that's how it should be. Sukhinova kemino huntu. If it had said Sukhinova kemino hunti, that would be a statement of they are, meaning everybody is in a state of happiness and safety, which is clearly an absurd statement. Whereas huntu, you're expressing the wish, may they be, huntu. Sukhino in a state of happiness, kemino in a state of safety. And the last pada, sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Right, look at the bhavantu here. Bhavantu sukhitata. That is that same third person plural imperative. And if you said sabbe satta bhavanti sukhitata, all beings are happy in themselves. Clearly an absurdly incorrect statement. Bhavantu, the meaning is the same as hontu. In fact, they're variations, originally variations of the same word. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Sabbe satta, all beings. If you're wondering why it's sabbe instead of sabba, because it's the pronominal declension. So sabbe satta, just as the word for they, they is te, not ta. And you see in the next verse, I think it is, where we have at the beginning of the next verse, verse 4, ye kechi banabhutati. That's this pronominal declension. Ye, ke, te, sabbe belongs to that declension as well. So sabbe satta. Satta is the normal noun declension of a noun ending in a short a. So that's why it's sabbe satta, all beings, and this is in the nominative. Satta, let me explain that word. Sat, from our root as, slightly irregular, it makes its the present participle, makes its stem in sant, but the stem form is the root form sat, or combining form actually is sat. So you get sattva in Sanskrit, sattva, as in bodhisattva. So sattva means a being. So sat is the root meaning of a being, and sattva is a particular being. An existing entity is a sattva. Note that the suffix twa in Sanskrit and Pali, becomes ta in Pali, is neuter, almost always neuter. However, in the word sattva, because it tends to refer to actual beings just rather than the concept of being as opposed to non-being, sattva is generally masculine, and that's why it's sabbe satta and not sabbani sattani. So sabbe satta, and of course sattva in Sanskrit becomes satta in Pali. So sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Sukhitata, let's go through that word in detail. So we've got sukha. If you make a cause, just happiness, as you know, if you can change that into a causative verb, so by the ayati ending, Sanskrit ayati, Sanskrit sukhayati, and Pali sukheti. Sanskrit doesn't allow this eti ending. It's sukayati. Ayati makes it a causative. To make sukha happy, or sukin, and sukayati to make happy. Pali suketi. The past participle from both Sanskrit and Pali of sukayati and suketi is Sukita. So Sukita, yes, it kind of means happy, but grammatically it means made happy, made to be happy. So we have sukha, happy or happiness, causative verb sukayati, Pali suketi, to make happy, and the past participle from that verb sukita, so made happy. Sukitata. So atta is now as a compound. We have the word atman, writing this as a noun on its own now, which becomes atta in Pali. Of oneself is attano. So I haven't written that very well. Attano. That's the Sanskrit atmana. This is the genitive form. When this word atman or atta is added at the end of a compound, it becomes, in Pali now, it becomes like any other nominal ending in a short a. It no longer declines atta, attano. So sukitata means with your atta or atta in Pali, with your atman, with yourself, made happy. So that's why you have sukita, atta. It's a possessive compound, meaning one whose atta has been made happy. And in Pali, because of the a followed by the a and followed by a double vowel, this a drops out. That's why we get sukitata, sukitata, happy-selved, or with a self that has been made happy. And that makes the plural then in the normal way, as from any other, or most other nominals ending in a short a, sukitata. Note that the plural, by the way, of attano, this is the genitive here, genitive singular. The plural happens to be the same because in Sanskrit, for the consonant declension, genitive singular ends in an a, and the nominative plural masculine also ends in an a. So they both become o in Pali. But here now in the compound sukitata, so that means in Pali, it's not, oops, sorry, pulled my headphones off. So in Pali and in Sanskrit, putting this atta at the end of a word, it brings it into the ordinary short a declension, or the most common declension, so sukitata. So I will now read this to you again slowly before we wind up this video. I'll call up the text again. Nacha Kudum samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadayum sukhinova kemino huntu sabbe satta bhavantu sukitata. And once more. Nacha Kudum samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadayum sukhinova kemino huntu sabbe satta bhavantu Sukita. That concludes this video.